Hello everybody, welcome to our little sneak peek of the coaches of TAC Sports. My name is Nemanja, although most of you know me better as Coach Nemo or Coach Nem, and I'm here to guide you a little bit about who I am and what role I play at TAC Sports. At TAC Sports, I do a lot of things. So my title is Director of Program Outreach and Curriculum Development. So I work closely with the coaches and we develop a lot of the programs that we do at our schools and our private lessons and our weekend programs. I also help out with the daily operations from anything from school programs to camps and getting everything ready. And I also work very closely with the academy as the U11 coach with my co-coach Artem Mohassis. And we also get involved with trying to raise and build up the program so that we've actually started with only 2 teams in 2 summers ago, and now we've expanded to 5, and we're going to look to expand it to 7 potentially, fingers crossed, for next summer. At TAC Sports, I first entered only coaching soccer because that was my primary sport. And then since I've been with the organization, learning a lot through children's development and different cross multi-sport development, I've since learned to coach martial arts, basketball, done a little bit of badminton and tennis, and also working with the young ones for like the development of our adventure camp program. So learning a lot about physical literacy and how to take the developmental period between the ages of 4 and 6 and optimize that through cross-training of different sports. So for example, tennis and martial arts and basketball and soccer, really studying sort of the fundamentals and how we can learn to train them as a youth in order to grow them up and make them be able to choose what sport suits them the best. Soccer, since I was a little kid, was like my love of my life. There's actually a little photo at my grandparents' place when I was a little boy. Must have been like 2 or 3 years old, and putting my foot on the soccer ball, and the soccer ball is like almost bigger than me. So since I was little, I've always been obsessed with soccer. And I know that my role model growing up was the legendary Ronaldo, a phenomenal. So when I was a young boy, I would watch the World Cup and I would dream of being Ronaldo, winning the World Cup, playing for Brazil. I didn't have like dreams of me holding the World Cup high. So ever since then, I've always wanted to be a professional soccer player. Since I was unable to make it, then I wanted to transfer my passion of playing into coaching in order to bring out that passion for the youth that I interact with. My favorite soccer team is Manchester United. Since I could remember, I think 2003, the year before Ronaldo came, I started actually watching and remembering and keeping track of what was happening. So since then, I think they were not champions, but they were second at that time. And then when Ronaldo came in, we became champions again because there was a little period there when we kind of dipped in form. But ever since then, I've been a supporter of Manchester United. I can't support anybody else. I know there's a lot of people who support like a club in Bundesliga, a club in Serie A and stuff like that. But no, for me, it's just one love, one passion, one club, and I'll never change that. And if anybody's been to my house, they'll see I got posters and little like crests and players' numbers and pictures and scarves. So for me, that's my #1 source of passion. I'll highlight 2 of the key points. One being that I'm committed to the development of the total human being. This is something that I learned through extensive reading. Actually, one of the people that I consider my mentors in this, even though I've never met him, was Louis van Gaal. He speaks a lot about this, and basically it's you coach more than the player. So a lot of coaches that I've seen, and through no fault of their own, but I feel like sometimes you need to educate yourself about certain things, will coach the X's and the O's and just the player in the shin pads and the shoes. And I find that in order to get the best out of a player and in order to create a good environment where everybody who comes to play with you and trains well and feels included, you really need to understand the total human being. So right now, with the U11 team that I coach with Arta, we have 22 players. So every time that I interact with them and I meet them, although we do have certain standards that we need to uphold during our training sessions, we always try, and I know that Coach Arta and I do this both, to understand who they are. So knowing them as a human, knowing their history, their background, their likes, their dislikes, their wants, their needs, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how you can talk to each player. Like one player needs a little bit more reassurance, another player needs a little bit more strict in order for them to achieve something more. So a big part of my coaching philosophy is understanding the player and understanding the total human being behind it. And the other part of it is the principles of economical training. This is something that I learned through my coaching courses in the United States. And essentially, every single training session that I try to create, apart from understanding who is going to be in that training session, needs to undergo the 4 pillars of soccer development, which are technical, tactical, physical, and psychosocial. So I always try to incorporate all of those elements into my coaching. And like I said, I don't want to go too extensively about this right now because there is more information online if you're more interested. So I encourage you to go onto the website and take a look at everybody that's there, including myself. My advice to young players in Canada would be, at the youngest age, is to fall in love with the ball. So I know that from reading and from watching documentaries and interviews with a lot of famous players, especially Brazilians. Of course, they have a really phenomenal soccer culture down there. But basically, what made everybody great was their love of the soccer ball. So, for example, somebody you might know as Ronaldo or Ronaldinho, or even nowadays for kids, Neymar. When you hear like interviews about their parents or their friends that knew them when they were young, they always had the soccer ball at their feet. So going to school, they had the soccer ball at their feet. Coming from school, they had the soccer ball at their feet. Playing soccer all the time. So I encourage them to fall in love with the ball. And B, I would say, when you get a little bit older in your teens, would be to focus on broadening your horizons. So what I would like to do in my lifetime is to expand the game of soccer as it is in Ontario and in Canada. And right now we have many problems, of course, and a lot of people can attest to that. But one of them is that we don't have a pathway of development. So for a kid who's 8 years old, there's no direct pathway to go to a professional league here. We have TFC, that's great. We have Montreal Impact, that's great. We have Vancouver Whitecaps, that's fantastic. But if you don't even live in those cities, then it's even harder for you. So what I would say is broaden your horizons, see if you can potentially move away, try to go somewhere else. I know you're going to need a lot of advice from your parents, a lot of support from your parents. So parents, I encourage you to do your research. If you feel that your son or daughter is very talented in the sport, then perhaps maybe once they get to about 13, 14 years old, you might want to consider some kind of at least summer training camps abroad or something like that, just to get some exposure, because there's more to it than just the GTA. I remember the first summer that I ever came, and I was just coaching soccer at the time. I was teaching one kid in particular who was very talented, and he was in a group with about intermediate level players, and he was, for his age, more advanced. So we stayed during lunchtime while everybody else went in, and I was teaching him how to do the banana kick. So we studied there for the whole week trying to do the banana kick, and then on Friday he got it. And I remember just him jumping up and being so happy, and he jumped up and he hugged me, he said, "Thank you, coach." And from then on I was like, that was awesome. I'll never forget that moment. I'm very excited to announce we've been developing a new futsal house league. It's at our St. Joseph Moore location, so it's on our North York, Richmond Hill boundary, so it's at Bayview and Steeles. And what we're looking to do is, since it's very difficult for children to play soccer in the wintertime, because here it starts getting cold by October, it's hard to go outside, it's very cold. We want to create a house league environment it's going to start in January, it's going to go till the end of May, where kids can come every week and just play with a soccer ball inside the gym. And why we chose futsal is A, because we can do it indoors, but also B, because futsal encourages a lot of technical development. And it's going to be super fun. It's not going to be a competitive environment, but it's going to be a little different from traditional house leagues in that we're also going to be teaching them skills while they're going to be playing at the same time. So it's going to be a great opportunity for all the kids living in the Willowdale, North York, West Markham, Richmond Hill areas to come on in. There's going to be a link in the description if you're interested, so I encourage all parents to at least give it a try. And that's a new exciting program that's coming up. I'm very excited for that.